So with parenting, in a lot of your animations, you're going to want two or more elements on the screen to interact with each other at the same time. And that's where parenting comes in. So you don't have to animate everything individually. You can actually get some elements to take over control of other elements or even other groups of elements. Okay. So what we're going to do today is, I don't think you guys have this part in your file. We're going to create this animation where this H and this plus sign come together, and then there's a rotation there. Where is it here? There's a rotation, and then the word sport comes up into the screen. Okay. So how do we do this? You guys have this file, so we'll get started. First thing we need to do is we need to, let me just jump back to this. Let's see where this rotation starts happening, because the H starts rotating with the plus sign at around frame 12. So from frame 12 to frame like 18, we need the H and the plus sign to actually work together so that I don't have to animate the position and do an arc and do a rotation on this H separate from the plus. I just want the plus to control them both. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go to frame 12, move my playhead right to frame 12, and I'm going to open up on this, sorry, where am I here? What I need to do first is I want to specify the parent and the child relationship between the H and the plus. So since the H is going to be doing whatever the plus is doing, I want the H to be the child element of the plus. So I'm going to use this tool right here. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to zoom in. Right here. This is called the pick whip. And you can use the pick whip to select another layer to be the parent of this. I'm just going to click on this and drag it. And you see I get this little target line like I'm shooting. I want to shoot this plus sign. And then let go. And you'll see what happens here in this little drop-down menu. If you don't have the parenting column visible, you can just right-click in this area over here to the right of layer name. Whoops. And a pop-up window will show up, and you can actually show the parenting column from there. So you can see here that the H layer now has a parent element, and it's this 1 plus, which means layer 1. Okay? So now what I can do is I can actually rotate the plus sign, and the H will just follow along with it. So I'm going to click on the plus sign layer, and I'm going to change the rotation of this. So keyboard shortcut to open up the rotation for this, so I don't have to open up this caret and then start diving into all this stuff. If you have that layer selected, you can just push R. And then your little rotation thing shows up. Your, not rotation thing, rotation parameter. So I can now make changes to this. So this is where I want it to finish up. I'm going to insert a keyframe here. Oh, sorry, before I insert a keyframe, I need it to, the rotation is going to happen after this. So I want to rotate this first. I want to rotate this 90 degrees. So you can see that as soon as I made that change, that rotation of 90 to the plus layer, the H followed with it because the plus layer is its parent. Okay, now I'm going to add a keyframe. So I'm going to I'll zoom in here. I'm just going to click on the little stopwatch and make sure that your playhead is on frame 12 so that you're adding a keyframe to frame 12. Just going to click right there. So there's my keyframe. It's empty. I haven't made any changes yet. And remember, from 12 to 18, this did a rotate. So a couple ways of getting to frame 18. I'm going to show you a new way. You can just click and drag on your current time indicator to drag to 18. You can click right in here and type 18. Another way you could do it is you could actually just put +6, and it will add 6 frames to whatever frame you're on and take you to frame 18. Okay, so at +6, I actually want this artwork to be the way that I originally had it. I want to rotate this back to 0. So I'm going to click on my rotation and just put it back to 0. So if we scrub our playhead, we've got this happening.
Sorry, Mark, did we add a keyframe in there, or did we just leave that keyframe empty that we added in frame 12?
On frame 12, you add the keyframe,
Yep.
and then you go to frame 18, and then you make your change. And then as soon as you add a keyframe and it knows that you're doing an animation, and then you make a change to it, it's going to add a keyframe for you. Yeah?
So at 18, you put it back to 0?
Yes. So you've now mastered parenting. Way to go. I wish it were that easy. It gets a little bit complicated. We've got a couple more animations to do. The problem with parenting is the animation before the parenting actually happens is where it gets complicated. So let's run through that really quick. Let's jump to this H layer. Because remember, the H layer has to fly in from the left side here, and then it does the rotate at frame 12. So let's go back to frame 12 here. This is where we want the H to end up. I don't know why. There we go. I'm on the plus layer. Sorry. I want to be on the H layer. And another keyboard shortcut, just like R for rotation, if you hit P when you're on the H layer, you'll open up the position parameter here. Zoom in so you can see that position. So you don't have to see all the other transform parameters. It just keeps your layers panel a little bit tidier. So here, I want to add a keyframe because I want this to actually be the stop point. So I'm just going to click my little stopwatch to add my keyframe. And I'm going to put my current time indicator back to 0. Because remember, at 0, it's off the screen, and then to frame 12, it comes into the screen. So I don't need to add a keyframe here. What I'm going to do is, with my move tool selected, I'm just going to click and drag the H and hold Shift. I'm going to click and drag it off the side of the screen.
Sorry, can you use some creative graphic?
Pardon?
Wait, how did you grab the H?
Just grab my move tool. Just make sure you have the black arrow. And then you can just click and drag on it. And I just held Shift so that it just comes straight from the side. It doesn't go on an angle.
When I click on my move tool, then I click on the H, it doesn't move. You click and drag.
Did you click and drag it over?
That's right.
Can you change the X value here on your position to just slide it over? Let me zoom out here. So if you scrub this, whoops, wrong value. If you scrub this, you can move it.
Okay.
Okay, so now if I scrub my playhead, the H comes in, and then it hits the plus sign, and it rotates, and there we go. Okay. Now, at the same time that the H is coming in from the left side, the plus also comes down from the bottom. So these are really simple animations again. I'm just going to go to the plus sign, my plus layer. Okay, just click on it. And I already have a rotation parameter attached to it. I also want to do a position, just like I did with the H. I'm going to hit P. It's my keyboard shortcut to open my position parameter. Oops. Okay. Oh, what happened to my... Give me a sec. My rotation thing disappeared on me. Or my position. There we go. Okay. I'm actually going to open up my plus sign. It's just easier so you can see what's going on. Here's my rotation. Is everybody with me still? No, I heard a no. Let's fix it.
I still can't grab my H. When I grabbed it, it just like stayed off the screen the entire time.
You mean, did you add a keyframe? Did you add an original keyframe on frame 12?
On frame 12, I added a keyframe for position.
Yeah, and then you move your current time indicator to frame 0.
Oh, now I
I'm going to keep plugging away here. So we've got this happening so far. I need to animate this plus sign to come from the bottom of the screen up to meet the H. So I'm going to do that with a position. I'm going to move to frame 12 because I like the position. I want that to be my end position. Okay. So on my position attribute right here, I'm going to add a keyframe.
Okay, but when you do that, how do you get stop? Okay, go ahead.
You want me to keep going?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. I think I know what you're going to ask, and I'm going to show you the answer.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'm going to go to frame 0 because I want this to start out of the screen and come up into the screen. And as I do this, I'm pretty sure this is what Alicia is asking. You notice what's happening here.
It drags the other one down.
My H is, misbehaving on me. So it's not really what I want, but there's a really easy workaround for this, and I'll show you. So now I've got this thing happening, right? Because the H is working on from whatever the plus layer is doing. And so when you alter the position of the H also changes. So this isn't what I want. So I wish there was a way that, this is a rhetorical question. I wish there was a way where you could turn off the parenting until a certain frame and then turn it on. That would really suit our needs here, but there isn't a way to do that. And so the workaround is like this. I'm just going to, sorry, I need that. Click on the H layer. What we're going to do is we're going to break this apart into two separate layers. Okay. If you have the H layer selected, go up under Edit, and this command right here called Split Layer. Go ahead and click on that, and we'll talk about what that does a little bit. Why isn't that doing it? Did you guys get an H2 showing up here?
No.
You didn't? I think it's because I didn't. Okay, you have to be on frame 12. Sorry, I forgot to tell you to go to frame 12. Pardon? Yeah, so go to frame 12, move your current time indicator to frame 12, and then go to split layer. So what that does, what that tells After Effects, is that on frame 12 for this layer, we want to just kind of stop what this layer is doing and create a new layer from that point on. And you can see that right here in your timeline. So at frame 12, our original layer, which is called H, let me zoom in here. Our original layer, which is called H, at frame 12 just stops, okay? And after 12, we don't see that H anymore. But on this H2 layer, we now see that instead.
So do we have to unparent the first layer?
You're getting ahead of me, Jenny. But yes. That's okay. So Jenny just totally busted my whole, like, shining moment.
Just pretend it didn't happen and do it again.
All right, so we're going to unparent the first layer from the plus sign. You could do that right here in this little drop-down menu. So I don't want this first H up to frame 12 to have the first layer as its parent, which is this plus sign. I'm just going to click on that little drop-down menu, and I'm going to change it to none. So then from frame 12 onwards, this second H layer, which is just a copy, and then it's still got a parent of that plus layer, is going to do the rotation. So there we go. Does anybody have any questions about that?
That was straightforward, guys.
Yeah, Caleb.
I think you get it to turn around. Run on the side like so.
Which one? The H or the plus sign? Do you have it? Did you use the pick whip to set the parent element? So if you click on your H layer, and then use this little pick whip tool right here, you can just, I can't do it right now because I'm not zoomed in or zoomed out. You can just click and drag it to get this little blue line, and then just point at the blue, or at the plus sign. I don't want to do it because it'll mess up my whole thing.